Noam Chomsky, a prominent linguist, philosopher, and political commentator, has been a vocal critic of the way Western media reports on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Chomsky's views on this matter are influenced by his broader perspective on media, power, and political discourse. Chomsky's key criticisms of Western media coverage of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict can be summarized as follows. Bias and framing. Chomsky argues that Western media often exhibit a pro-Israeli bias in their reporting and framing of the conflict. He contends that the bias results from various factors, including the close political and economic ties between the United States and Israel, as well as the influence of pro-Israel lobby groups. Chomsky suggests that this bias leads to a skewed representation of the conflict in favor of Israel. Narrow range of perspectives. Chomsky asserts that Western media often limit the range of perspectives presented in their coverage, which results in a one-sided portrayal of the conflict. He believes that mainstream media predominantly feature the viewpoints of Israeli officials and their allies, while underrepresenting or marginalizing Palestinian voices and their concerns. This, in his view, hinders a comprehensive understanding of the situation. Omission of historical context. Chomsky emphasizes the importance of historical context in understanding the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. He criticizes Western media for frequently failing to provide this context, which includes the displacement of Palestinians in 1948, the Nakba, and the ongoing Israeli occupation of Palestinian territories. Chomsky argues that without this context, the coverage can appear superficial and misleading. Dehumanization and demonization. Chomsky accuses the media of dehumanizing and demonizing Palestinians, which he believes contributes to a lack of empathy for their suffering. He argues that framing Palestinians as terrorists or as a threat to Israeli security reinforces stereotypes and biases that further complicate the prospects for peace and justice in the region. Underreporting of human rights abuses. Chomsky contends that Western media often underreport or downplay human rights abuses committed by the Israeli government and military in the occupied territories. He argues that this lack of scrutiny allows such abuses to continue without adequate international attention or condemnation. Chomsky's critique of Western media coverage of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict aligns with his broader perspective on media as a tool of ideological control and influence by powerful elites. He emphasizes the need for a more balanced and nuanced approach to reporting on the conflict, which includes a wider range of voices, historical context, and a greater focus on human rights and international law. It's important to note that his views have generated significant debate, and not all scholars or analysts agree with his assessments of media bias in this context.